J Sauce Extras, man. So the title, he killed a Crip every Christmas, bro. He don't give a fuck about that naughty or nice list. He didn't give a damn. The OG sent to Klaus, you know what I'm saying? I don't know nothing about, bro. We got to hop into it and see what the hell is going on. Like every Christmas, bro? He ain't even let 1 year go by. Well, he was like, yo, I'm gonna just chill this year. Nah, every Christmas.
Welcome to Hood War Stories. In this episode, I'll be discussing the life of Santa Claus. Alberto Von Cotto, also known as Santa Claus, was a second-generation member of the Rolling 20 neighborhood Bloods. During the 1950s and 60s, a gang called Blood Alley existed on Cordova Street, near where the Santa Monica Freeway is today. In the early 1970s, as Blood Alley began to fade away, the youths from this neighborhood continued the Blood identity. In 1971, they began with the name In Hood. They added the Rolling 20s between 1975 and 1977. At some point between 1977 and 1979, they added Blood to their name. In the 70s, they had two main cliques, 25th and 27th Street. Originally being the Vermont Villain Boys, the 29th Street clique was formed on the south end of the neighborhood towards Jefferson. Santa Claus got initiated into the Rolling 20s when he was only 16 years old. From the start, he was determined to display that he was the ultimate gangster and to position the Rolling 20s to be a top blood neighborhood across LA County.
So in order for him to be a top blood, he said, yeah, let me go take out a Crip. Let me go take out a Crip every Christmas to be the top, most well-respected blood around this motherfucker. Like, that's the way to do it? Like, god damn, bro.
As a teenager, his gangbanging was bold and came with no fear. At 17, Santa Claus would be flamed up wherever he went. Red house shoes, red rags, and chucks with red laces. On a few occasions, his open display would backfire on him. One day, Santa Claus went head up and fought 6'5" Deuce Hovers outside the swimming pool at Expo Park. He got packed out, but it showcased how fearless and frontline he was. It's no one Santa Claus hated more than the Harlem Crips, who were the 20s' lifelong foe and primary rival, located just south of them. His ill feelings and hatred toward the
that's the most craziest shit. It's like these gangs be right beside. They be in the same hoods,
and primary rival, located.
Look how fucking close. They literally on Jefferson Street, bro. That's the middle street, main street right here. Literally walk across the street and they in the ops hood, bro. That shit is insane.
Just south of them. His ill feelings and hatred toward the Harlems would be expressed on many occasions. Allegedly, Santa Claus deboed members of their gang so many times that he was the sole reason they began to start using guns. When gunplay came into effect, Santa Claus would pay a visit to a rival Crip's home each Christmas and kill them. But this terror inflicted by Santa Claus was year-round, not just on Christmas. And it wasn't one-sided. One night in 1981, the Harlem Crips caught Santa Claus sipping walking home from his girlfriend's house. They got up on him and shot him at point-blank range. They left him in the alley thinking he was dead. But he survived.
They left him on some OG Ricky type shit in a fucking alley, bro.
And shot him at point blank range. They left him in the alley thinking he was dead. But he survived and shocked his enemies 1 week later by walking down Exposition, which is in his enemy's territory, wearing a red rag over his head. As his reputation.
He walked in the Crips territory with a red, bro. That shit is gangster as fuck. But I'm not with the killing people and shit like that, but I heard when you do it, you gotta make sure they're dead, cuz they didn't make sure you feel me? They didn't finish the job and he came back and finished that shit for them.
Grew. His name became feared among hoods across South Central. By the mid-80s, Santa Claus was a respected OG and a shot caller who was directing play calls. At that point, the war with the Harlem 30s was ongoing and only seemed to be intensifying. Santa Claus thought it would be a good strategy to change war tactics. At that time, the Rolling 30's closest ally was the Rolling 60 Crips. During the mid-80s, plenty of Crip factions were clicking up due to the rising Crip-on-Crip violence. Under Santa Claus's leadership, the 20s decided to conduct a kill mission dressed in all blue. Their target location was the intersection of Dinker and Jefferson Boulevard, a Rolling 30 stronghold, but a location that was
Why they look like my brother? What the
openly visible. As the 20s approached Dinker, they spotted a group of Harlem 30s in clear view. The faces of the Harlem 30s were confused. One of the 20s then yelled out, "West Side 60 Crip." The 20s then began to let off numerous shots in rapid succession. As the third target was shot and dropped, the 20s sped away and returned to their safe haven. Mission accomplished. Casualties on both sides continued. In the early 1980s, the Rolling 20 Bloods had three cliques, 25th Street, 27th Street, and 29th Street. The Harlem 30s also had 3 cliques at that time: the Dacres, the Avenues, and the 39th Street faction.
Yeah, motherfucking ad! Look at the ad! Come on, bro. Fuck off my screen.
At that time, Santa Claus and OG Lled were key in expanding the Rolling 20s by securing turf by enlisting the 2nd Avenue gangsters to become a part of the Rolling 20 Bloods. The avenues were named for the streets between Arlington and Crenshaw Boulevard. The Rolling 30s and the Rolling 60s also had cliques of the same name at that time. In 1985, Santa Claus called a hood meeting for all cliques at Lauren Miller Park to officially establish that the 2nd Avenues are a legitimate clique. The 2nd Avenues arrived shortly after, and everyone...
These niggas be having fucking PSA meetings to give y'all updates, a software update to let y'all know who's on the team and who not. God damn, bro. I guess you gotta keep it safe, you feel me? Like,
began to celebrate. The 20s had now expanded to 4 cliques and were elevating their status as a premier blood gang in LA County. In doing so, the Rolling 20 Bloods expanded land area to having arguably the largest blood gang territory in Los Angeles. Their neighborhood not only covered the West Adams area from Vermont to Crenshaw, but now extended north passing Washington, Venice Boulevard, and Pico between Crenshaw and Western Avenue. But their celebration was being watched. Not long into the meeting, groups of Harlem Crips descended into their neighborhood and started attacking both sides of their park, boxing them in.
Damn, they ambushed their ass. God damn.
Santa Claus immediately sprinted toward the east end of the park in an attempt to combat the attack. Once in range, Santa Claus extended his right arm and fired 3 shots at his enemies. 1 Crip down.
3?
Santa Claus fired 2 more shots. Another Crip down. The Harlem's attack had backfired on them.
One-hitter quitter?
They picked the injured homies up and threw them in the car and quickly sped away. As the South End war front heightened against the Harlem Crips, the 27th, 25th, and 29th Street clique launched attacks that extended beyond their enemy's main base of operation. Several Crip factions began to click up to slow down the 20s' offensive attacks. On the west side, the Harlems clicked up with the 60s, and in the deep west, the Harlem 30s could be seen kicking it with the Showline Crips at Venice Beach. So one day, Santa Claus ordered a few carloads of 20 members to slide into Showline territory in hopes of finding some Rolling 30s. When they arrived, their hopes came into fruition as they spotted Harlem 30s on the Venice boardwalk. Both equal in numbers, the collision escalated into a large-scale gang fight. Law enforcement arrived deep shortly after, and many were arrested from both sides that day.
Okay, that's good. They weren't out there shooting and reckless and shit like why Arab kids, family out there. That's good. They just kept it with the hand, you feel me? What little baby say? I don't do no wrestling, you feel me? But they do some wrestling, you feel me?
Meanwhile, back on the home front, the 20s struck back at the Harlem 30s on a personal level. Both sides knew each other by names and knew where each other lived. Santa Claus started to target the home tactic, and many homes were hit, including the home of a high-ranking OG from Harlem. One night, the OG threw a party for his Harlem homies. As the party was going, Santa Claus bust down the door and began shooting at everyone in the party. Multiple Harlem members wound up dead that night. Word began to spread quickly of Santa Claus's actions, and people were beginning to think he was untouchable. Santa Claus would spend a good portion of the next 7 years in prison. Santa Claus was released from prison in 1992. As a welcome home gift, members of the 20s laced him up with plenty of dope and cash. Shortly after being fresh out, Santa Claus took command of the war campaign against the Schoolyard Crips. The Schoolyard Crips were the 20s' hated enemy to the west. Skirmishes on their border of Crenshaw occurred frequently. During that time, Santa Claus found a girlfriend on Bronson Avenue. She mirrored his gangster ways, selling dope out of her 1-bedroom apartment and carrying a pair of twin 380 chrome pistols. But on January 13th, 1993, the gang world was shocked when they discovered Santa Claus had been murdered. The 20s instantly pointed the finger at the Schoolyard Crips. By nightfall, all cliques of the Rolling 20s gathered at the headquarters, Lauren Miller Park, to discuss a revenge plan. That night, 5 Crip hoods were all hit simultaneously. The Harlem Crips, the Schoolyard Crips, the West Boulevard Crips, the Rolling 40 Crips, and the 5-5 Neighborhood Crips. The message was sent clear that night that the Rolling 20s wanted blood. The Harlem Crips and the Schoolyard Crips immediately struck back. The following night, the 20s ventured into the heart of the schoolyards and shot down 3 members, one of which was high-ranking. After 2 weeks of intense warfare, the Schoolyard Crips were ready to call a truce and firmly denied their involvement in the Santa Claus murder. But the war against the Harlem Crips didn't stop, and the bodies began to pile up. The 20s also struck at the Rolling 40s hard in the corner of Vermont and Vernon. In the 5-5 neighborhood, Crips got hit with a 50-shot Uzi. During the bloody aftermath of Santa Claus's death, the 20s wanted to show hoods across LA just how much muscle they had, and willed to declare war on 5 Crip hoods at the same time. When
like West Boulevard Crips, why don't they just be one Crip, bro? That's what I'm not understanding.
Much muscle they had, and willed to declare.
Why don't everybody just link? You feel me? 55, 40 Crip, Harlem, West Schoolyard. You know what I'm saying? They all on the same team, ain't they?
War on 5 Crip hoods at the same time. When Santa Claus's killer was finally revealed, many were left shocked and confused. The killer was not a gang member or even an affiliate, but a low-level weed dealer from Jamaica. Santa Claus supposedly robbed a Jamaican because he was pushing in his neighborhood. Young gunners canvassed the streets for nights on end searching for the killer, but he had disappeared, some believe out of state. The 20s' revenge was denied. Santa Claus left a reputation and legacy, and to this day, Santa Claus goes down as one of the top 10 blood riders in LA history.
Lil Wayne? Lil Wayne?
I'd like to thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment.
He did not have to spark that shit up like I thought Wayne was about to start rapping on that bit, bro. What the fuck? Yeah, this is the end of this. Let me know how y'all felt about that motherfucker right there. If y'all do want more videos like that, let me know. But J Sauce, I'm out this hole.